in closer. Had a big comfy couch.
It's a big comfy couch.
I lost my vape. Hold on.
That was Nickelodeon.
I'll get it this time. Sorry.
Where's your help?
It's been a while since I've had a woman throw herself on me.
I had to get my vape. That was so important. I wasn't going to make you do 3.
Need something for her oral fixation, so she had to throw herself across the fat guy.
Are you in?
Are you in or are you out? I don't know. It's just a simple question. Are you in or are you out? I'm out. Too late. Over here.
Where were we at?
Oh. Andy.
Oh, fighting.
The fighting.
The fighting.
Then she's over here eating her chicken.
Mm.
Yeah, Andy was drunk. I had a long day. Just didn't want to mess with. He wanted me to move the van so he could park in front of Grandma and Grandpa's house in his spot. He was getting aggressive. I got out of the vehicle. Swung, missed, and long story short, he has really bad gait and just kept falling down into the bumper of the van, the curb, the light pole. Police show up. They did nothing. I knew the officer.
Sarah's just over there like...
He's like, you go this way.
Like,
Andy, you go that way. Matt, you go that way. Cool. Chalked it up to, whatever. Well, dude goes...
Bad equilibrium.
I heard, are we done? Are we done, Andy? Are we done?
Spits teeth out. Are you done, Andy? Are we done here? Do you need some more? Spits teeth out. And, yeah, I'm done. Okay. Well, dude goes up to the courthouse the next day and presses charges. I'm driving the semi. I'm hauling tomatoes. The officer calls me. Hey, Matt, there's a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, for what? Andy went up and pressed charges. Oh, great. Long story short, they were all waiting outside on their porch to watch me come home and get arrested and pulled out in handcuffs. The officer's like, when are you going to be home? I'll just come to the house and snag you, take you up, book you, and we'll release you. He drives by, notices that they're outside with their phones and everything. Pulls the squad car around back Grandma and Grandpa's house, parks in the alley, comes in the back door. I come home from work, go inside. He lets me shower, sit down at the table, eat chili. He ate a bowl of chili with me and Grandma and Grandpa. And then we walked out the back door and walked to the squad car, and I sat in the front seat and we drove off. We got to the jail and he's like, put these on. Throws me a set of handcuffs, goes, here, cuff yourself. I mean, I'd worked EMS and fire in town for a while. I knew a lot of the cops. And I had no intention of ever returning to EMS. Just driving. Money's a lot better behind the wheel of a truck. And skip forward to November of 2019. I failed my physical. And blood pressure was screaming high. They did an ECG, found out that I had a heart attack sometime in the last 6 weeks. They took my CDL. So I figure if I'm going to be having heart attacks now, I might as well do it in an ambulance instead of a semi. So, yay, back to EMS.
I made him a cheesecake when he went to jail.
Yeah.
Luckily I had the bail money, so I went and bailed him out. And I was so nervous because I couldn't do it till the next day. And I made him a little cheesecake with a heart. I had no idea how to respond, so I went to food.
Love language.
Food is a love language.
It is.
He liked that cheesecake.
He did. I like everything she cooks, as you guys can tell. I'll never be a skinny man.
No, there was one thing that we didn't like. I don't remember what it was, though.
Yeah, we eat our mistakes.
It makes a turd. That's our saying in the house.
Like a turd.
Well, we've been so many times without like options that if it's food, we just eat it.
Speaking of turds, you know why your turd's tapered on the end?
Because your sphincter cuts it off?
No, it's tapered on the end so your asshole don't slam shut when the turd comes out. Makes that sound.
My mom's gonna be watching this.
You should ask wombats. They poop squares. Did you know that?
I did not know
Wombats poop cubes.
Do they really?
that. I don't know.
They absolutely.
We can't look it up.
Alexa, do wombats poop cubes?
A wombat species is cube-shaped due to the lack of liquid in their diet.
What?
This causes them to have a longer digestion period, which coupled with the strange ridges of their upper digestive tract, creates cubic feces. By the way, you have a new notification. Do you want to hear it?
No.
Yes.
No.
I had such a good time last night.
No.
Female voice.
No.
This is Erica. It's such a great time last night with you, Caleb. Why aren't you returning my call?
That explains a
I've sent you
lot.
716 voicemails and I have 1,000 text messages.
Are you done?
You would have a stalker like that.
I would.
We are way squirrely.
Squirrel. Anyway, okay. we had to Alexa the
Wombat poop.
wombat poop. Okay.
Mhm.
And he's in there. I can't eat it.
Anyway, so when I came into y'all's life, y'all were living off.
Mhm.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, Rodney was a staple. My cousin Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him have always been really close, except for the time that I was living in the truck. He was off doing his own thing. He was in a band.
But before, like we had, what was it? That apartment, that little bitty apartment, and we went
In
truck
Rural
driving.
Center.
Yeah,
We had a little apartment. So
that's when we went flatbedding and came back, and our power was shut off and for a hot minute, and we had maggots in our fridge.
yeah, we were gone for like a month. Roger shut the electricity off.
Mm. And his our boss decided that he wanted to close up shop.
Sell the company while we were driving.
Yeah, and we came back and he said, "You're both unemployed." And then we were staying at his brother's apartment complex. So his brother, he had told his brother that we stole money.
Stole fuel.
Mhm.
We were using the fuel card to, like, we were putting the fuel card in the machine and letting other people pump fuel into their semi in exchange for cash.
Mm.
And he said that it happened at Love's. It was a complete lie. He lied. He didn't know that the general manager of Love's was a fellow EMT firefighter at my fire department. So standing in front of him, I called her on the phone like, "Hey, you're the general manager of Love's, right?" "Yeah." "Exit 264 I-69? "Yeah." "Oh, I got an employer here that says that I was putting my fuel card in a pump in exchange for cash money on the spot, and he says that he came in and the store manager let him see video footage of it actually happening." She's like, "Well, that's not true because we can't pull up video footage here and we wouldn't show it to him because it violates HIPAA. That would take a court order to do and it wouldn't be done here. It'd be done out of state and the video footage would be sent to a lawyer and then all that stuff." And pretty much called him out on the lie there on the spot. He started balking and backing up and he knew he was caught, and then called Roger and said, "Hey, kick him out of their house."
Yeah, so now we're unemployed, no place to live.
Almost. He did pay us our last 2 checks, so we had a couple, $2 or $3 grand.
Yeah, we were staying in because you went back to Poncho, and we were remember sleeping in Poncho's truck for a little bit before I went to back to mom and dad's.
Yeah, we
stayed in the truck.
I stayed in the truck because I immediately went back to hauling pigs.
Mm-hmm.
Like the next day, like after everything happened, it was one phone call to Poncho. Yep, got a truck waiting on you. Show up. We literally took everything out of John's truck, put it in our truck, in our pickup truck, and drove 3 miles down the road to Poncho's house and put all of our stuff in that semi. Immediately had another job.
Mm-hmm.
Ow.
Yeah, so we decided to move away from that area and go back.
So I worked for Poncho for about a week because he knew we were moving. It wasn't a stable thing. I started looking for another job. We moved, and I was looking for another job, driving job. She was on ladders, like was it monster.com. And she had a company contact her saying, hey, would you like to come drive flatbed for us, so on and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, it was on, I think it was Indeed.
Indeed. And she's like, she responded, no, I don't know anything about flatbedding, but my husband was a flatbedder.
Well, boyfriend at the time.
Oh, yeah, boyfriend at the time. My boyfriend was a flatbedder for years when I was owner-operator. And would you be interested in him? He was like, absolutely. And that's how we met Argy. It's Six Logistics.
And he was a godsend too, because he helped you with your help.
That was when the whole child support thing happened.
Mm-hmm. So, like, when I say God played a hand on every moment in our relationship. Moment. And, yeah, like when he went to jail, I was panicking because it was, what was it? Before a lawyer, it was $8,500 to get him out. And I just had my bus driving job.
Well,
and
the prosecuting attorney got in a lot of trouble over that. There were other things that she was doing that were violating constitutional rights, but she was doing it to people that didn't have the money to pay, and she wasn't counting on us to have the ability to come up with the money to pay a lawyer to expose it, and we did. And
do you remember, like, we were talking about the flatbedding? I remember we were going to the Christmas party. I mean, we fell down our cement steps. Did we tell you about that?
Oh, holy cow.
Gosh,
Talk about pain. Remember all the big concrete steps coming out of that house?
We were all dressed up and looking. That's why I refused to let him walk behind me down the steps.
Yeah, she got like 2 or 3 steps in front of me.
And he lost his balance.
I slipped and took her out like a wrecking ball. We both slid all. I lost consciousness. I was out cold.
I did not lose. My belt was wrong. I had enough.
She gets up and goes in the house and leaves me out cold in the front yard.
Because I was going, I think I was going to call Dad. I was like, what do I do?
She wouldn't get my fat ass up out of the door.
Like,
call 911.
So we're passed out. Dad comes over. You guys okay?
You know how many people walk up and down that road? How many people see my fat ass out in the front yard out cold in the yard?
There was a lady that drove by as it happened.
Nobody stopped. Nobody helped. Nothing.
It was like one of those
I was out in our yard for
cold
5-10 minutes. I was out cold for a hot minute. 5-10 minutes solid. I woke up. I thought I had frostbite on my hands and feet. I was out there a minute. She didn't come out and said, "Hey, you all right? Hey, fat ass, get up." No,
I was almost knocked out too. I wasn't thinking straight. I just know we needed help. Call Dad.
Donner party at 2. She's waiting for me to die so she could eat me. Put me in the freezer.
Can't tell people my secrets.
We didn't want to go to that Christmas party. Argy was blowing up my phone later. What's wrong? Like, Argy, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Me and Sarah fell down the concrete stairs on the way to get out the car to come, and we are injured. Yo, crying? Yeah, you gonna be able to come to work tomorrow? Yeah, I'll be there.
We were sore. We hit hard.
Oh yeah. It was at that point in time I realized that I was at that age where falling down is now a hazard. So
falling down hurts.
It wasn't 3 or 4 years before I was actively in MMA.
Yeah, you don't fall gracefully.
No.
The older you get.
Concrete is much harder than the human body.
Although it'd be funny for people watching the stand-byers, but
No, when you die and go to heaven and the Lord replays all the moments of your life, that's one of the ones I'm going to be like, oh.
I remember that.
And then all of a sudden, even though you're in heaven and things aren't supposed to hurt, I'm going to like, oh, my back still hurts from that. Hi, Franklin. D. Rosa Cat.
Yeah, so he gets out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then
We get married.
Yeah. I made him repropose.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was some things that happened while he was in jail that
came to light.
Yeah, came to light, and I tried to end it.
That's why you don't mess with him.
And I
He
didn't
does it every time.
I didn't even go pick him up out of jail.
Nope.
After 2
I
years.
came home, my shit was packed.
Mm-hmm. And we worked it out that day. He reproposed. And
Fool's Day.
and then we got married very shortly after. Was it
3 days later?
Yeah, because we tried to go the next day, but we needed to get some paperwork situated.
Yep. Then after RG, you were driving a school bus. You got...
Beep!
What?
You're name dropping. You can't be name dropping.
I've said his name like 4 times.
No, locations. We said all the locations.
All right. Cut. So after I was working at 6 Logistics, she got on driving school bus somewhere.
I don't know where I'm going. I'm just taking y'all somewhere.
At a place that has school buses.
Not at a school, just a school bus yard.
It's just this place that has school buses, and they let randos just show up and drive fucking buses around to make traffic slow.
So, remember that one meth head that stole a school bus from that one town?
That one town.
If you knew the amount of school buses that actually got stolen, you'd probably be shocked. This is actually a commonly stolen vehicle.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
That's where this thing came into play.
That was the second. Yeah. We had broken rules there. Because, like, after our incident with flatbedding, when it tanked, we agreed to never work for the same place. And then we broke that for the school because we figured that would be a stable place.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving flatbed. She was
Mm-hmm.
driving school bus. And the bus mechanic was retiring. This was during the summer when nothing was in school. And the person in charge of the powers that be was asking drivers if any of the drivers knew a mechanic that was looking for a job. And they had to have certain certifications to work on school buses. You got to have public passengers. You got to have different certifications in order to work on a vehicle that transports people, transports children. And I happen to have those credentials from my degree. And she dropped my name. I was looking at getting out of the truck anyway. I was gone Monday morning to Friday afternoon, only home on the weekends. At this point in time, I'd been driving for years. I had miles stacked up, and I'm like, I'm done driving. So I went in, met the mechanic, helped him work on a couple things. They were kind of feeling me out, and they offered me the job. And I thought, hey, this is with the school system. This is perf. This is retirement. This is insurance. This is working with 6 Logistics. It was 1099. We had to do our own taxes and all that. And got tired of doing all that stuff. And so I went to work for the school.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. It fell apart after about a year and a half. And then what did I do? Back to hauling pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So we met in the middle of that.
Yeah.
She taught me how to drive a bus.
We were
That
instant best
explains
friends.
a lot.
Instant. Actually, she goes,
I've never seen a school system with so many damaged buses.
I can't remember what prompted you to ask me if we could
I think
be-
I just blah.
Yeah, she was like, do you want to be friends? And I was like, absolutely.
Will you be my friend?
That's really what happened.
Peanut Butter Falcon over here.
Because we
You
were
can go to my
spending,
birthday party.
we were spending like 2 or 3 hours a day with each other,
Mhm.
just driving, because you have to have so many hours before you can even go
Mm-hmm.
do shit. And she's like, do you want to be my friend? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then she even proposed to me.
Like apples, we drive school bus.
I take school bus.
Come on, kids.
Anyway, so insert me in the middle.
Wait a minute. Think about what you just said. Think about how I'm going to respond to that.
Don't make her
Yes,
laugh
come
and
on.
go fart.
Insert me.
In your direction now.
Insert me. Oh, you're not going to fit, but hey. Challenge accepted.
You're an asshole.
Anything if you're brave enough.
Can't stand you.
Do we even know where we were at?
Yes, we do.
Insert you.
Insert me.
Here we go again. Round 2, fight.
Hi, I'm the best friend.
Me and Kaylin didn't always get along.
No, I couldn't stand you, actually.
I hate you dying of fire.
Yeah. Ditto.
I was
Not anymore.
drinking a lot. Like a lot.
She's also seen you in your worst days.
I did. I met you guys when you were kind of in that sucky.
It was a downward spiral.
Yeah.
I went back to EMS after the heart attack and was in CDL. We just got back from Florida, and it was January of 2020, like a month before COVID, and I'm unemployed trying to find a job. I found a couple different jobs, and luckily, as the Lord would have it, I've got many years of EMS experience. And the only place in the world that was hiring at the time was EMS jobs because of COVID. You couldn't throw a rock anywhere without hitting an EMS department that wasn't hiring. And I didn't have my EMT cert at the time. I had lapsed several years prior while I was driving. I didn't stay up on it. My continuing education was gone. So I went to work for an EMS company, and is that the little one?
No. That's the wide mouth.
Kind of. There's 2 wide mouths sitting there, so.
Swab.
Yeah. Swallow, Kaylin. If you know the rule, if it goes in your mouth,
I
it
hate
doesn't
you.
come back out.
Okay, go.
And I got tired of that EMS job. I went to work with my brother doing construction. Wound up doing another EMS job, and I got my EMT cert back there.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that job. Things started happening. The company started expanding at a faster rate than what some people would have liked it to. And I didn't like dealing with the politics that were there. So I went out and found another EMS job, which is where I'm at now. But while I was there, I'm
going to figure out a way to, I think I can silence.
Beep.
I think I can just take the sound out.
So while I was at this job, it paid amazingly. But this job had this knack of knowing that if you were really good at your job, you got to do everybody else's job too.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
everywhere.
they were contracted through the VA to do runs, to transport veterans. They did ambulatory, wheelchair, and basic life support ambulance runs. And it was non-emergent, no lights, no sirens, and it was basically just human UPS for the veterans. And I loved it because everybody I came in contact with was a veteran that had a story, and that was just the neatest thing. I got to spend all day driving around in a nice vehicle with a veteran sitting next to me telling me about his war stories or his life story and so on and whatnot. It was just cool. But it got to the point where I got my EMT and I'm wanting to be in the ambulance. Me and an employee there weren't getting along, so I was shoved in a wheelchair van where I did not want to be. And I was put on dialysis 3 hours away. And it turned into 17, 18-hour days, and it turned into
Sleeping there a couple times.
that long day, coming back, taking a 2-hour nap at work to clock back in and go do it all over again. Next thing you know, I'm leaving for work at 2 o'clock in the morning Monday and not getting home till 9:30, 10 o'clock Wednesday, just to get home for a day off, just to be called and say, hey, you're on call and we've got to run, you've got to come back in, and I can't say no.
Mm.
So
She intentionally did that.
yeah, she did. And she really didn't care about the amount of money she was handing out, because she was trying to work a bunch of us, not just me. There were other people that she was intentionally trying to work into the ground to get them to the point to quit. And it worked. I mean, we were making great money there. I needed some home time. And I'd realized that if I got home and I had a drink, that I could say, hey, no, I can't come in, I've had a drink. And I'd been drinking heavy years before. And
Yeah, we had lots of parties at you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. House.
And I never realized I had a problem drinking. It wasn't a problem for me. It was just so normal. It was just the daily routine.
Mm-hmm. That's what we would do.
But then when I got over here at this job, it started turning into an excuse for me to not go in. I mean, I had rules to drinking. Don't drink, don't drive. You drink, don't drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you have a CDL, that looks way different.
Yes, it does. And I didn't like drinking outside of home, at least the rate that I was. We had some nights at Charlie's that we got a little drunk, but I prefer drinking at home, because when I'm at home, I'm in the garage. I'm building stuff, having fun.
You build stuff?
Yeah.
Where?
In the garage.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it.
No, because I'm sitting here with you two filming a video when I could be at home being productive. Actually, be home studying the back of my eyelids. I got a big test coming up. I'm going to pass it.
Yeah. And you were drinking a lot in the garage.
Yeah. And it started getting to the point where I was drinking 2 bottles a night. And on the weekends, it was 3-4 bottles. And after I quit drinking, we found out that I was spending upwards of $600-700 a week, every 2 weeks. I mean, when I quit drinking, we were several $1,000s a month ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, I kept remember us saying, "Where's our money going?"
Yeah, I was drinking it, not realizing it. I mean,
$20 here, $20 there.
well, the liquor I was drinking Jesse James. It was $18.18 a bottle, and I'd stop in and get 2 bottles. It was $37.44 for 2 bottles a night. So that's almost $40 a day.
Well, on the weekends you can get more.
Oh yeah,
plus beer and
I was easily spending $200-300 a weekend, and
You were not a nice person.
No, I wasn't. And I didn't realize it because it was such a gradual thing. On top of, I acted a certain way, especially with you. I had a really, really crappy childhood, and I'd never let that go. I'd never processed it correctly. I'd formed coping mechanisms in my life to keep myself safe, not realizing that I was forcing those coping mechanisms onto other people. And I didn't know how to let well enough alone be. I was constantly manufacturing problems to deal with because throughout my entire life, I've been a problem solver, compounded on top of extreme ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have a problem to solve, I felt out of place. If I didn't have a problem to solve, then I felt like there was a problem. And that problem was not having a problem to solve. So I was generating problems to solve. And
making me was part of that problem.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
did. Absolutely did. I didn't realize the treasure that I had in front of me with my wife and with you. I almost tore us apart pretty aggressively and got to the point where...
Yeah, we would fight. He'd be in the garage and say something outlandish to Sarah, and it got to the point where
I was out of pocket a lot.
I was taking up for her because she just took it. I was sick of it.
Yeah, at our old house, like we would be drinking and he would just throw stuff on the floor. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I drink to the point where I wouldn't remember stuff like that. And and then when they would confront me about, like, hey, you did this. No, I didn't. In complete denial. And knowing in my mind, yeah, you did do that, but I just wouldn't let myself listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to other people, not in a manner of cheating, but they were females, and I was sharing very personal details about our marriage with these people. And looking back on it now that I'm sober, seeing where my wife was coming from, yeah, that was very disrespectful. I never made a plan to go out and physically touch anybody else, or it wasn't like that. It wasn't about sex. I was looking for somebody new to confide in. I was looking for somebody to talk to share intimacy emotionally with, not physically. And to her, and looking on it now in my state of mind, that was cheating. It may not have been physical, but it was emotional. It was mentally. And November 31st of 23, we were down to one vehicle. I was working for said company and still drinking. She had the car at work. My coworker, when we got off of our 18-hour shift, she drove me to where she was working at. I should have known something was up because I texted her saying I'm on my way. And she was, you're going to be here to get me at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Yeah. So I knew that night I had to stay sober. Because when I got home, it was only going to be like 3 or 4 hours till she got off work, so I couldn't drink. So because I had to take the car to go back and get her. And when I got there, the car was already started and warming up. She wasn't anywhere near it, because typically she would wait, hug and a kiss, love you. And I knew she had her radio on her, and maybe an alarm went off or something like that, and she had to run back in. And she was checking on me the whole time home. Hey, you home yet? Hey, where you at? So on and whatnot. And I got home. You're coming to get me, right? Yeah. And it's, no, you're not. I'm done. I'm leaving. My mom's coming to get me. Stay away from me. I want no contact. And I made the decision right there at that point in time to stop drinking cold turkey right on the spot. And for the first time in my life, I've always been a person that I never understood self-harm. Because to me, I could never hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first time in my life that I actually thought, hey, this is, I never wanted to hurt myself. But it was at that point in time that I gained an understanding of the place a person can get mentally where they can think about it. I mean, I knew I wasn't a danger to myself, but it was at that point in time that I understood where a person could be emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, that they would think that was a viable option. And I mean, this
I just want to say, this girl texts me if I don't text her and asks me if I'm mad at her. And so she's very loving in the way that she just no contact with her husband, like savage. She didn't tell me that she was leaving. She didn't tell anybody except your mom and dad that you were leaving. You were done.
Well, we weren't allowed to be friends.
Well, that's true too.
We were friends at work.
Mm-hmm.
But
the summer before, when I got the Harley, I was on my way up to the Blue Room.
And it was
to
very
get
restricted still.
Yeah, well, yes,
okay,
you're
hold
right.
on. Let's go back. Let's go back. The reason why...
Rewind.
Yeah, let's rewind. The reason why Sarah and I could not be friends was because Matthew felt like I was taking his wife away from him.
Yeah.
And then my marriage was falling apart. My kid killed himself. Couldn't deal with that either. And Matthew told her, like, I don't want you nowhere near that. So, I mean, he was looking out for you because I was on his spiral.
And I didn't see that because I was in my own trap.
Mm-hmm.
And even, I like to think, and I think I'm justified in thinking and saying this, I've always been good at noticing when people needed help and helping them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was too caught up in myself. And because in my mind, I was protecting her and our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And to an extent, I could see that because you were in a bad spot too.
Well, not when we first broke up.
Yeah, not when you first broke up. But I didn't see it because I was tunnel vision stuck in the path that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to think that had I noticed that you were that far off the path like I was, that it would have played out differently. But everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the Harley out to go get more liquor.
Mm-hmm. And there I was.
And there she was in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't physically seen her in, what, a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, come on, let's go for a Harley ride. Completely took her off guard because she's intoxicated. I am getting ready to be on my way. I was sober because I was on the bike. I was out because I won't leave the house after I've been drinking. So she goes on a Harley ride with me, and I had her take a selfie of both of us on the Harley and send it to Sara. And I was like, you need to come to the house.
Yeah, he encouraged it.
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad encouraged it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
I cry when
one of the best
you
3 decisions I'd ever made in my life.
No, it was, so you started working back where I'm employed now, and your dad didn't say anything to me. And he texted me, he's like, hey, can you come to my office? And there you were. And so
I'm surprised we didn't start sobbing.
I know.
I was shaking.
Yeah.
Alligator tears.
We held it together. But that's the first time I've seen you in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I kept looking for you.
Yeah. And then it was, we would talk at work, but you were on a different shift, so it was
in passing.
15 minutes in passing, but we were both busy, so it was like, hey, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
It was very superficial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we weren't allowed to be friends until your guys' ride.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be work. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I started sliding.
Sliding in.
You gonna pull through? You gonna come through?
Anyway, so Matt kind of encouraged us to be friends again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was still in his doomsday spiral.
Oh, I was gaining speed.
Yeah.
Like it was like the space shuttle coming into re-entry, I was getting hot and catching fire. And I do remember parts of one night, the two of you were wanting to go out line dancing. Bob was at the house, and he's like, Matt, let's go out. And like, he was trying to drop that hint, but I was drunk enough that I wasn't having it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I was intoxicated enough that it was not a good idea for me to leave the house. And to this day, I still feel like I was justified in that, because had I went out that drunk, it would have turned into an altercation, an arrest. I still feel that I was justified in staying home that night, but I should have seen what was going on. And that was Bob trying to start an intervention, is what it was. And I didn't pick up on that. I just thought it was, hey, we need to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And me being intoxicated to the level that I just wasn't picking it up. And then everything happened. We went 5 weeks.
I thought it was 6.
It was like 6 weeks, no
Was it 6
contact.
weeks?
Mm-hmm. And she moved in over
Because
here.
it was it was 5 weeks.
It was almost 6.
January 5th. It was
I
5
paid
days.
your
into
rent
New
twice,
Year.
didn't I?
It was the entire month of December,
Well,
and then 5 days into January.
Well, she was at your parents' house though for what, almost 2 weeks,
Mm.
and then I think it was closer to 6 weeks.
So you went the entire month of December,
Mm-hmm.
and then January 5th is the day we got back together. So it was a month and 5
I
days.
thought you guys started talking January 5th, right after.
Well, that was when we rekindled. That was when she broke the no contact.
Right. But she didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it was a couple weeks after that she actually came home.
Yeah.
And in that 6 weeks,
So.
it was hell.
Yeah. So she went complete savage, no contact. Would not text him back. Would not give him the time of day whatsoever, because she was trying to.
There were some things we had to communicate with as far as
Right.
getting bills,
Mm-hmm.
so on and whatnot. I was still working. I was still making a good income. But the timing that she left, it was between checks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still in denial. I mean, I couldn't believe it was happening. And she paid a couple weeks of electricity for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
when I left.
a month of rent. And then I started getting checks rolling in. And then through it, the healing process for me was, it felt like an eon. But it was rapid. It was so fast. And I'm one of these people that when I have something in my mind, I know it's right, I will boldly and assertively continue to do it until I am told, hey, this is wrong, change it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I realize it's wrong, it's an abrupt stop, it's a 180 and back the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd realize that, hey, I've done something wrong. Drinking's done.
See.
Yeah. It's the hand.
Well, I'm holding the vape.
Well, see, when this
Keep that thing sheathed.
when this
Knife
thing
hand
happened, Bob, who he's talking about, was on his side. Not on his side, but like helping him. And I'm over here helping Sarah. And me and Bob are collaborating on the phone. Like, we weren't giving too much detail, but we were giving enough that we could kind of steer both of you. Because Bob knew that you guys weren't done. I knew that you guys weren't done. It's just, the Band-Aid had to be ripped off.
I was 6 million different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what way was up. The only thing I knew in life was I had to pay rent, and
you had to pay bills.
I had to go to work. I had to go to the gym before work, go back to the gym. Sauna, pool, weights, treadmill. I broke 3 treadmills at the Y. Broke them. Mm-hmm. They quit working. I broke down 3 treadmills. I went from 309 pounds to 272 pounds in 6 weeks.
What's the number on that?
48. This is gonna be like three parts.
3 parts.
But I gotta tell my side because it just sounds like I just cold-heartedly walked away.
You did.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
She was justified in it.
I was justified because
So are you getting into the nitty gritty?
yeah. Okay. We're going down to the root. Down to the root.
Okay.
But no.
Am I missing a catchphrase of the series?
No, her catchphrase.
No, like
sounds
leading
like
up.
a WWF.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's a promo for the WWF.
So why'd you leave? So
abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, leading up to it, I had tried to leave before. Because I found him talking to girls during his drunken state. I didn't realize how bad the drinking was.
I drank in the garage by myself.
Yeah.
yeah, we really didn't see the consumption. We just
Yeah.
It was very rapid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a chugger.
Yeah.
Was.
And like I didn't end up leaving that day, but it was still very rocky because it was only a year in between time I tried to leave you the first time.
Yeah,
And
did you try to leave when you guys lived on the...
oh yeah, that was a different time. Okay, so there was 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Yeah, because I was miserable because when you're drunk, you're a completely different monster.
Mm-hmm.
And well,
I was sober for work. That's it. The only time I was sober is when I was
Pulling
at
in
work.
the driveway.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I would stop drinking in enough time to sober up to go to work.
And it was getting to the point to where like you would try to tell me a different memory, like I would have a conversation with you, and my memory was always wrong on how I recalled it, and then
Matthew was never wrong.
yeah, and then
Bold and assertively.
you know
Because I knew what was in my head, and I never second guessed what I thought.
and then your anger would come out a lot from your childhood, and it projected onto me.
And everybody.
It's always the closest people that get the worst.
Then they're
Like Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Ryan and Gracie would come over. Shout out Big Tex-Mex. I told him I give them a shout out. Because they watch this.
Okay.
And they'd come over and drink with me in the garage. And I would get to that point where I was out of pocket and then they would leave.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like everybody that would come over would always bring alcohol. And we were the party house.
Yeah, it was a party house.
Everybody that came, there were a lot of friends that around, and as soon as the drinking stopped, Ryan's the only one that stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Well, you weren't there for all the drinking and stuff.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I was
Not
drunk
when it was-
under Bert freaking puking my guts out because I gave Bert
Yeah,
freaking
but
trash
remember
can.
that one
I'm talking
that was
about
like
at
that?
the end.
Oh yeah,
Not like,
yeah. You were.
I was over here though at the end.
yes, you were over here at the end, but you weren't there for
The end was
all the big, the grand spiral. You were there for, you were there like SpaceX watching the impact.
It was starting to flow in that direction.
Well, my thing is
Like,
even though
like a little kitty,
you encouraged us to be friends again, I always kind of stayed out because you were still the same Matt that I didn't want to be around.
mm-hmm.
And we always fought. We always like,
because you kept trying to bodyguard me.
yeah, I was 100% not okay with him saying and doing all the things that happened, and it was just
yeah, and
because I had already came out of my spiral at that point. I was sober and fine, and then I have him still in the same state, and it's like absolutely not.
yeah, and there towards the end, he started pushing me away during his drunken moments, and he doesn't remember it, but he kept trying to tell me leave.
Yeah, you can do better. Why are you still with me?
I remember some of those.
Yeah, and that
we would hang out.
that was his. I think that was his way of protecting me from himself. And a few months before the grand spiral, I prayed and I asked God to intervene.
It's cold now
because we were miserable, and he started the trajectory of
I thought
the
you were
grand
going to say turducken.
the grand finale.
I like turducken.
And that day when I just left, like, I had found out he lied to me yet again. And I was miserable.
I don't even remember what it was about.
I do.
Of course you do.
Yeah, because it was the pivotal moment. And it was about his texting female girls.
Female girls.
Female girl.
Female girls.
Female girls. Is that like hot water
okay.
heater?
Okay, well, yeah. Still gonna send it. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I was miserable. And you were miserable, but you didn't realize it.
I didn't see it. My blinders were on.
And I had tried to tell him before that moment. Like, I had to try to tell him, hey, let's fix some things. Hey, we're not. I don't remember how I said it, but I would say it in my quietness, in my quiet voice, and I wasn't a raging biatch about it.
When we our first 5-6 years, our communication was so solid. It was just a look, and we could silently communicate. And then toward the end, it was. In case nobody in the breaking the fourth wall doesn't know me that well, is when you need me to do something or understand something, it's not a, hey, do this. It's a, grab me. Hey, stupid. This is the point I'm trying to get across. You've got to break it down very rigidly. If I'm not catching on the subtle hints, they're absolutely not going to work. You need to stop me in what I'm doing, break my thought process, hone me in, and say, hey, this. Mm-hmm. And even with the drinking and the place I was at, I don't think I would have listened. But there's a part of me that would have been like, if she would have just stopped me and grabbed me. Hey, I'm not happy. Hey, I'm thinking about leaving. Hey, your drinking is too much. You need to fix this or we're over. She never...
Kimber!
And I'm not faulting her for not doing it. Obviously not. But a part of me says that had she stopped me and said those exact things or something to that effect, hey, I'm not happy. Hey, I'm thinking about a divorce. Hey, your drinking is completely out of hand. I am not happy and I don't want to be in this anymore. You need to unfuck yourself quick or we're not going to be in a marriage anymore. I believe, in my mind of minds, that right there would have been enough to send the red flag up for me.
She did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks for interrupting me, Blondie.
You're welcome.
And then looking back on it with the whole Bob thing, her telling me.
But you have to understand, in your state, nobody could fucking talk to you. I know. Absolutely nobody.
I understand that.
You were defensive. You were out of pocket most of the time. So talking to you wasn't a thing. So that was her way of going, hey.
Yeah, I know. I understand that.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
and I do believe that.
How it was designed. Mm-hmm. And
I immediately, the next day, started AA. Everybody makes fun of AA. Everybody like, oh, 12-steppers.
It's so boring when you're not an addict.
But, I mean, I carried myself to it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't court ordered to go. And I went a good solid 6 months, give or take. Mm-hmm. 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. And I stopped going because there were people there that recognized me from working EMS. Mm-hmm. And it was starting to be... I feel I got what I needed out of it. It served its purpose. It got me mentally and emotionally to a place that I could hold my own. Mm-hmm. And it was getting to the point where people were recognizing me from the community as being in uniform. And it was starting to be more of a problem than what it was a help. And even working for the EMS company that I did, the bosses there the company is owned by a husband and wife. They were absolutely nothing but supportive, and I consider them to be family to this day. They were making sure I got off work to go, and there were a couple times that I didn't have a working vehicle, he drove me there and waited in the parking lot and then drove me back to work or drove me home.
Possibly.
I mean, huh?
Let's turn